to excess of 2 million residents, if you include the Greater Harare area, which I shall loosely call the Greater Harare area. That includes Tungwiza, Norton, Rua, Epworth, and anything in between. Koromonzi, parts of Jimba. We have 8 local authorities that surround Harare and that border Harare. And the main treatment water plant and the main source of water is Lake Chivero. Lake Manyame was then built in 1976 to augment the water efforts of Lake Chivero. And a tunnel was built underneath, and water is again drawn from Lake Manyame, which we then dilute the Lake Chivero water, which we then treat to give to residents. The water is obtained from a variety of sources. Lake Manyame is quite straightforward. It's rainwater and the water that is captured in River Manyame, which downstream becomes River Panyame in Mozambique. Lake Chivero gets water from rivers and the catchment area. You know, Harare is built on the water source, and that's why there are a lot of wetlands, and the wetlands are part of our water system. We then also get water that we've used. In other words, we are supposed to treat it and put it there, and then it will come to be reused again. We have sewer works, but they are not at full capacity at the moment because they were also designed many years ago and are not able to deal with the affluent in the quantities that it goes into there, and also some other time there was ISIL, which created huge problems. And what these other things do is that they deprive oxygen for the organisms that live in the water, and nutrients, or they change the chemical balance of the water body, creating a situation where the natural habitats of those water bodies fall to harm. So this issue is of serious concern to the Council, to the extent that we are a contributing factor to the pollution that is there. We are also concerned about the pollution and the other various pollutions. As you know, pollution is governed by the City Council, it's governed by EMA, it's governed by ZINO. Why we are worried is that any pollution for our major water sources increases the chemical cost to the residents of cleaning that water. So the dirtier it is, the more chemicals we have to use. And currently, we are using about 11 chemicals to treat Lake Chivero water. And if we don't dilute it properly with Lake Manyame water, we have to use more chemicals to use less, to get less water. So it's a huge concern, both to harming the residents and also the levels and the amounts of water that we will be able to give in turn. So at this moment, these are early days, but we thought that it was very important for us to address this press conference to say and to bring to the attention of the residents that we are engaged in this matter. I say these are early days. Since yesterday, our staff, our technical staff, has been engaged in meetings with the national parks people, government people, ZINUA people, and ministry people, and the metropolitan government people. So all these technical experts, microbiologists, scientists are conducting tests to see what could have happened, to test the water at the areas where it could be polluted, and we will get the results as soon as possible, and we will announce them using the technical teams that are on the ground. We as council together with Parliament and other government officials, will visit the lake tomorrow to get an understanding as to what is happening. So that is the situation at the present moment with that regards. What is to be done is then the question that then follows. So the tests that are being done by the experts will guide us as to what needs to be done. What is clear at this point is that there needs to be an all stakeholders concerted effort to deal with pollution in our water body, and also to deal with the treatment of our affluent. So we need the government to come and chip in with the resources and the expertise that is required for us to be able to treat this water. Then secondly, for the city, we need an urgent upgrade of our sewer reticulation system, the one that already exists. But however, the informal settlements, and I've stated before, have increased. We have over 150,000 informal settlements. In other words, settlements that are not regularized, and these settlements do not have sewer reticulation systems. Therefore, their discharge is going straight into our water bodies. These now need to be regulated, and a stop needs to be put on irregular settlements. And the challenge we are having is that around the shores of Lake Chivero, there is a growing settlements, informal settlements, and these are again increasing poaching activities and also polluting the lake, so to speak. And these have to be stopped or regulated. In other societies, the areas around lakes are dedicated to luxurious resorts, water sports, wildlife, and such other qualitative and easily controllable behavior. The shores of Lake Chivero are becoming swallowed by informal settlements, and that has to stop. This puts the wildlife in danger, the water body itself in danger, and it also becomes difficult to control it. What is also needs to be done is an increase in our regulatory efforts. Both EMA and the city of Harare, we need to fine and clamp down on polluters in a big way. And to the extent that we also contribute to the pollution, we should make sure that we correct that. We need to understand the chemicals that are going into the lake, where they are coming from, and the infrastructure that is to be built in our industries, wherein they don't have to discharge their affluent into the river. We also are going to upgrade our chemical regime and modernize it. We have entered into memorandum of understanding to introduce the use of chlorine dioxide as part of our water treatment process, and this chlorine dioxide will help in terms of dealing with the water that we treat and the length that it is treated and the quantities that we do have. So I will hasten to add at this juncture in time, and then of course awareness campaigns. People have to understand we have to protect the animals, we have to protect our water bodies. It is a precious resource. We don't have to dump everything into that water body, and we have to take care of it as a living organism. So having said that, every water that is untreated is unsafe, and we give treated water to the residents. So our water is tested on a daily basis. It is tested using the World Health Organization standards. The water that is coming out of our tap is safe for human consumption. It is safe for the residents, and we treat the water that comes from Lake Chivero and Lake Manyame thoroughly to make sure that we don't put into our system water that is contaminated or that is harmful to the residents. So the water we are giving to the residents is safe for use, safe to drink, and it's tested by our chemists on a day-to-day basis. We also employ microbiologists that test our water, and our water is being tested to match the results of what could have harmed the animals and what type of chemical it therefore is. So this juncture, our water is safe to drink and people must use it. And also we treat all the water that we get on that basis. So long and short of it, a working visit will be done in conjunction with other government organs. We await the tests and the discussions by our technical teams as to the way forward, and we will implement the recommendations that will be coming from our technical committee meetings. We are committed to ensure that we provide safe water to the residents. We are also committed that we will create a safe environment for those creatures that were given by God to be in custody. They cannot communicate for themselves, and therefore we owe them an extra duty of care to take them. It is quite sad that animals like rhinos, who survived since the beginning of time, survived meteorites, while other dinosaurs were going extinct and are still among us, can die because of our own conduct. We want to make sure that that never happens, that the animals are safe, and that consequently the water is also safe for human consumption. So we are getting all the assistance we require to investigate our water body, and we will be discussing with government to get the assistance that we need to work together to make sure that Lake Chivero is safe, and also to get new water bodies to augment the supply of water. Even if we get new water bodies, we will still be, we have somewhere to discharge our sewage, and hopefully we will discharge it when it is treated. The other compounding problem is the electricity at times, so we need to look at renewable energies. We are committed to going solar so that we will not fall short of power. If we don't have power at our sewer plants, we then have to push for some time without being able to treat the water. So we are looking actively to dealing with issues of energy by adopting solar as a renewable energy source. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And do you have any questions?
Honorable Mayor, my name is Ron Cassin from Zim. From your presentation, you seem to be focusing on test of treated water, that is water coming out of the lake. The challenge, like it has come out from the investigation done by fellow journalists, is on the affluent getting into the lake. And from my understanding and knowledge, we have written several stories regarding affluent road sewerage getting into the lake. There is a place where this water comes in with road sewerage. For almost 4 to 5 years, I've been doing these stories, and we've been engaging your councillors and departments relevant to the environment, EMA, including impacts as well, but there seem not to be action. And from your presentation now, you seem to be sort of in a war situation whereby you're surprised this is happening. They've been visited by technical teams from the city of Harare, but up to now, the language seems to be the same.
We will not war or surprised. We are actively engaged. I mean, the solutions are there, but what we require are the resources to implement those solutions. And this situation probably brings the whole matter, or brings a further added sense of urgency to the whole matter. We are well aware of what the reporters have written. We are well aware, and we've passed resolution as councillors regarding the issue of water treatment plants the need to repurpose our sewer, and the need to do it as of yesterday, not tomorrow. And that has remained the need. And the oil, what can I say? The fly in the oil has always been the leg of resources, and the commitment, should I say, the political will to ensure that we upgrade the sewage works, and also that any new settlements that we build are connected to the sewer works. But once we get to expand the sewer works, once we get to deal with those issues, we therefore will be in a better position to deal with the sewer as one of the pollutants. We will also need to deal with any other source of pollution that is discovered within the lake, and that is where the tests are critical and important. Yes, we certainly are not aware of 7,000 cases of diarrhea. No. Oh, you mean countrywide? And they are blaming me.
No, they are saying that
okay.
going to supply water to the rest.
No, we had one cholera case in an informal settlement in Belvedere. It's an informal settlement with 100 and something residents, and it's in Belvedere, and they are staying there informally. They are getting their water from a stream nearby. My position on informal settlements is clear. We need to move people. My position in informal settlements has been reported and is very clear, and that is the council's position. We need to go back to formality. This is the consequences of informal settlements. We will not then be able to manage the sanitary conditions of the city. Those whom we are giving water, the areas where the formal settlements are, there is no outbreak of cholera or anything. It is those areas where people have been allowed to stay there, and for one reason or the other, we cannot take action against them. That is where we are going to have problems. And I shudder to imagine with the rains that they've come, we've prayed for them, but they are going to have consequences in terms of the water sources that people have been drinking from. And we are trying our best. We've gone to the informal settlement, we've isolated the source, we have responded with our health department, and that is why it is still remaining the solitary cholera case at that area. We've taken all the steps that we need to take to protect those residents. But our position is that we should remove them from there and many of the other informal settlements and place them somewhere else in conjunction with the Ministry of Social Welfare. If we don't do that, we are going to be treating the symptoms and not the causes. And the causes are very clear. Once we move around in informality, then we'll have the challenges of diarrheal disease, cholera, and not being able to monitor the water people are using for cooking, people are using for drinking, and many other chores. Yes, sir. It shouldn't follow that way. We've got sewer treatment plants, right? And the sewer treatment plants that we have, we treat the water before it goes into Lake Chivero. However, the growth of informal settlements is such that especially when it rains and so forth, that affluent also goes and bypasses our system and flows into our water bodies by nature. Now, the theory would be if the city grows, those people will also formally join the city so that they can also contribute. So the more we are, the cheaper it should be, if you get my theory. The more residents we have in Harare, the cheaper it should be per unit because we are now spreading the cost. But however, because we are not, these people, the people are settling themselves without order, we are unable to put them into the mainstream so that they can contribute to the rest of society. So the 322,000 households that are registered in our database are the ones that remain shouldering the burden for everyone else. Whereas we should be able to keep our records if we register the other informal settlements. So we should be able to keep our costs low if we are able to update our records. And that is why we have insisted that all registered, unregistered settlements must register. And those who are staying on land that is not theirs must not stay in that particular land. We then have these problems of not being able to protect our water sources. We've budgeted them every year. We have them in the budget. If we are able to sit down with the government and other stakeholders, I would suggest that the work must start immediately. If we don't get any funding, it must again start immediately. We cannot sustain, like the earlier question, we cannot sustain the situation. Because what then it does, we end up chasing our tail. The dirtier the water is, the more chemicals you need to clean it for it to be usable. So you are chasing your tail. You're better off treating the water here so that when you use it for other uses, you then use less now. Let's have the ladies asking.
My name is.
We treat the affluent that comes through our sewer works. Through the proper sewer works, the failed sewer works, and all that the affluent is treated. However, the city has outgrown the capacity that we have to treat the required amounts that come through on a day-to-day basis. Then other affluent goes into our water bodies using unorthodox means, if I can use that term, because if they are not connected to us, then they go in. Then sometimes challenges, power failure, and so forth. But that should be an exception to the norm. But we are the only body in currently with the capacity to treat the affluent because we have the sewer works. So there's no option. We have, as a city, to discharge our duty to treat the affluent. Yes. We're trying to persuade people that we need to create zones that are safe for our environment. The chaos, there's an addiction to lawlessness by certain citizens. And that addiction has to be nipped in the bud. It affects our water bodies. The increase in poaching, increase of pollutants, increase in all forms of deviant behavior. So what we need at the present moment is to create a zone where the land use around the lake is limited to what I would say high quality use, game parks, hotels, high-end use of the area around. Once you put informal settlements that are there and that are sprouting up currently around the lake, you are inviting for. Yes, sir. To a huge extent. I mean, if you are creating an informal settlement that is not linked to the main services of the city, then obviously you are going to get those services by hook or by crook. So I do believe that we cannot wish away or look aside at what's happening around key city infrastructure. It's not the only key infrastructure that is being drowned by the illegality. A lot of our key infrastructure is failing to perform at capacity because of this illegal behavior. And we can go the list transcend all sectors of the city, in recreational parks, so forth and so forth. All of those are being drowned by illegal activities and some of the diversions you talk about. What we need to do is to clamp down, to enforce the law even harder, because there are consequences to some of these illegal behaviors, which we should and must not tolerate any second further. But having said that, the percentage, once it comes to our treatment plants, what's in the treatment plant, the percentage should be well within the margin of error of the operation of that plant. Yes, the equipment is aging, yes, it has lapses, but once the affluent gets to our treatment plants, my understanding and to my knowledge, that is any miss is within a margin of error. I might not be sure about the specific percentage of the margin of error. I'm sure I'm hearing that the meeting of experts is concluding. They will be able together to come up with what extent that margin of error is. But what we are clear at the present moment is that anybody is free to test our water once we produce it from from our waterworks, and it is indeed tested on a day-to-day basis, and we are aware of the quality of the water that we eventually give to the resident, and that quality of water is safe for use or safe for purpose. But this has to be looked at thoroughly, and I'm sure it is being looked at thoroughly by government. They will share with us their results, and once they do, the results will come with recommendations. We'll implement those recommendations to enhance the quality of the water and to enhance the safety of our residents. Yes.